I like to use the peanut butter and jelly sandwich analogy. How do you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? What is the first thing you need to do? And it's to have a plan. You have to have a recipe, right? You need to have money to go to the store. You need to have a ride to the store to get your stuff, right? You're going and peeling back the layers with code, like the new coding of AI is peeling back those layers all that way and remembering that you're instructing something, how to do something for the first time. And when you get that instruction where you understand how to do that with AI, you're going to be able to build upon it a lot faster. So, an example would be I need to write a sales sequence that sends out an email that invites somebody to an event where I'm calling 3 days later. I'm following up by email 3 days later if they're not picking up the call, right? That's basic. Now you can go to the next level of that. I'm going to train AI to learn how to utilize my voice to leave a voicemail. Those are some of the really cool things that I'm seeing. They're a little creepy at the same time too. You're like, am I talking
Right.
to a bot?
Right.
Am I talking to a real person? Right? It's like going through TikTok and figuring out like, is that AI generated or not? So there's a point of the way that you coach it, you're basically having it mimic you versus it's not replacing you, it's mimicking you because let's be honest, it's not really artificial intelligence. It's a learning machine right now. It can get there, but it's going to take time. We're not going to be seeing in general use, of course. We're not going to be seeing general use where you're just going to be able to take something and say, do this, and it's going to know all the different nuances of how you want something done. So that's kind of coming back, take it back to the business sense of in order to really train something, if you give it really specific instructions, here's an example. You want to write a cover letter. You take a job description, you take maybe some company background information, and you go to like a chat GPT. Now, mind you, you wouldn't do this with any confidential data. You would only do it with data that's available in public, FYI. But if you put in and say, write me a cover letter for this level job at this company, here's the company description, and here's the job description, and here's my resume, write me a cover letter is a much different output than write me a cover letter, right? So it's literally understanding, and this comes back to data, right? So if you have all that data that you can give something, you're going to get a much different output than if you give it very simplified data. So understanding your data structure, which is unstructured, structured data, which is also understanding where does the data live? How does the data move system to system? How is the data being used by people? How is the data being used by systems? So that's the start of the discussion around AI is really to understand what we're working with. And then we look at team members, right? So the people side of it is really huge as well, because we need to know
Mhm.
everybody's skill set and we need to know how much training is going to be involved and where we can send them for training. There's a lot of stuff online, which are really awesome to do these things. And then the tools already have things built into them in a lot of times. So HubSpot's been one. Salesforce, we're seeing doing a lot of this, right? Those two, I think, are some of the leaders in the AI space when we just talk about business, technology. And then you look at all these marketing tools, and there's so many that are utilizing AI because of data, because they're getting access to data. So it's just a different game. But the approach is the same. It's what are the
Yeah.
things you need to know? People, process, technology, and data. That's your approach to
Yeah.
every project. We need to identify, define those things, understand what our goals and objectives are, and then what are the outcomes that we're looking for, and then what is the effort to get there.
Well, then the people, yeah, people, process, and technology, right? Kind of always seems to come back to those. Still, we can get away with that. But as you were going through all of that, it really made me curious about your engagements and how, when you're working with the people, how important the people side is, right? So you're basically sitting them down with a technology that says that's going to be able to replicate all the things that you do. But don't get hung up on that. Now, again, I need you to tell me exactly how you do this, exactly what you know here, right? I mean, it's a very explicit sort of um, signal that's going to set off their threat receptors
Yeah.
if you're not managing that change the right way. And it doesn't have anything to do really with the technology. It doesn't have anything to do even with the process you're discussing. It has to do with sort of your brainstem and your security, your security reactions and everything else. How do you, what's the soft side of all this, or what is that, talk to me about that part of change management, the human change management, because this is technology adoption unlike anything really that they've typically had to learn just to learn how to uh, to do their job better, because they still are sort of owning doing their job, and they're going to lose some of that. How do you talk to them about that? Do you see that as a big hang up? Are people still there
I
past that?
think it's
How's that working?
well, I'm going to give you the consultant version of this. It depends. But I do think if we talk about
You'll come in and you'll review it for 3 or 4 weeks, and then we'll have an initial finding, and right.
sort
Sorry, go
of. I think it's more of the conversation up front of crawl, walk, run. So the
ahead. Mm-hmm.
way that I like to get people started in AI is to say, if there was something that you could get off your plate besides doing the sale for you, because everyone's like, have it sell for me and meet all my goals for me, right? People get really funny in their responses. But crawl, walk, run. What is something that if you could take it off your plate, what would it be? So let's talk about one of those things, because I think this is an interesting one, and there have been certainly solutions for this, but there are better solutions coming aboard because of AI. So if you think about scheduling tools, so I want to be able to send an email that if somebody responds to me, that it will automatically go and say, oh, it recognized it had this language in there because maybe I use a common term. So if I put, here's my Calendly to schedule, right? And somebody goes into that Calendly to schedule, I would have thought about what can I use with AI to personalize that message? What can I use that will not just send them the invite, but it would also log maybe some sort of, ticket for task or activity management in my CRM. And oh yeah, it adds them to a list for me of people to follow up with and creates a follow-up. If you think about like all those different things that could happen, now you've taken off my plate that extra step I have to go to make sure and check, like, oh, yeah, this got sent. And oh, what was in the message? I'm not sitting there going, okay, so in Calendly, I put some things in and yeah, there's a little bit of follow up, but was there any sort of action items or any sort of things that I need to collect before that meeting? Um,
Mm-hmm.
do I need to update my CRM because I'm in the middle of a sales cycle for this conversation? Or I'm in the middle of a project and I need to log an action item out of that. So if you think about those sorts of things there that are PIAs for people, it's just busy work. That's where I
Yeah.
like to get people started. I try to find the low hanging fruit of things that will feel better because they have AI, not because it's something that's going to take something away. It's going to take something away they don't really want in the first place. And so getting people into AI that way is a much healthier approach to do it, because then they start going, oh, I could do this. It's all about getting the transformational mindset of I can do these things differently. What are those things? And start listing them out as an individual. And then thinking about it, okay, we've gotten there. Let's show each other like different things that we did. Let's talk about how we're using it for business transactions. So I described the one with Calendly, right? All the different systems are getting updated because I send this one email out. I've got AI built to do all
Mm-hmm.
these other things for me. Let's go further than that. Okay, let's take it 3 steps ahead of that. So, what does my forecast look like differently because I did those things? Am I getting more time back? These are those top level, what the executives care about is bottom line margin. Are these things that are making people more productive? Are they increasing our margins? Are they saving us time where we're able to focus on things that are more revenue generating? You get to that discussion a lot faster, taking that stair step approach, taking that we're going to crawl, walk, run, instead of just trying to go at it and be like, we're going to go and we're going to put AI in and
Yeah.
we're going to use AI for these things. Let people try things out, point them to things. So I'll talk about HubSpot. HubSpot does a really great job where it'll be like, would you like to generate a description to this workflow using generative AI? Yeah, sure. I don't want to have to sit there and type. I'll do that. It's giving you a choice. I'm going to choose if I
Yeah.
do that or not. I think that's the psychology behind it of going into anything with changes. It's going to do something for me that's going to help me. It's going to do something for me that makes me look better. It's going to do something for me
Right.
that is going to get me to where I want to go, maybe faster than I could if I didn't. So, so many things that go with that. I think one thing that is really important here is understanding what you're measuring when you're putting AI in. So you're not just putting AI in to put it
Yes.
in. I'm seeing that
Yeah.
happen where people are like, "Oh, I could do this." I'm like, "And how much time did you spend to do that? And how much time did it save you?" It didn't do anything. Now, mind you, that's a little
Right.
contradicting because maybe some of those things for yourself are things that don't do things for other people as you're getting started,
Right.
but it should naturally progress and evolve where somebody is going to use it for business as a part of doing that approach is like, let's get started here. We need to move you a little bit here and then a little bit here and a little bit here.